Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of the Momhood Podcast, where we dive deeper into the beautiful complexities of motherhood together. I am so excited, you guys. I cannot believe this is actually happening. Today, we do have my husband, Cameron Reyes.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Say hi, Cameron Reyes.
Hi.
So, yes, I decided to have Cam, my husband, on this first episode because this is kind of a special pilot intro, if you will. My plans for the podcast is to have all kinds of different types of moms in different walks of motherhood, talk about their stories, answer some questions, talk about some really crazy topics. But today I thought, why not do a little intro for myself and why I decided to make this podcast in the first place. So we're going to be talking about my story, how Cameron was involved in that, and I thought Cameron is the best person to bring on as my guest at talking about myself because he knows me better than anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive right into it.
I am not going to be a regular on the show, but I'm excited to be here, so thank you for having me on. I just want to start off by saying, as your husband, I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
To you guys have no idea, no clue how much effort Mal has been putting into this for such a long time now, and it is her heart, her soul, her blood, her sweat has all been poured into this. She has been doing an absolutely amazing job, and she is also very, very, very big on words of affirmation. So
I was just gonna say that. I was like, wow, he's really doing the words of affirmation today.
Yeah, I just want you guys to know that this is not just something that she's doing for the sake of it, but like she really does care about this, and she feels that the Lord is calling her to do this, and that this is bigger than just her. It's bigger than just us. It's bigger than even our local community. This is something that could be amazing and will be amazing. So I love you, and sorry for babbling so much about you, but I like to.
That's what the podcast is for, is to babble.
Yeah, I like to talk about my wife. I think you're awesome.
Oh, so that's really sweet.
I
also am a very big talker. Cameron will attest to this, that to say the one topic that could be shortened into like 30 seconds, I speak for like 5 minutes. So I feel like I'm in the perfect place.
I'm sure it worked really well in college when they were like, write a 1-page report, and she didn't really know what to say, but I know that you could stretch that word count out.
Oh yeah. I know. I definitely did.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm a dropout. So anyways.
Me too. Dropout gang.
Dropout gang. Yeah. So this year, you guys, has been a whirlwind. First of all, we celebrated Mother's Day yesterday. And this was the first year that I'm actually, like, a mom. Like, I guess last year I was pregnant.
Yeah.
But this is the first year that I was a mom. And we celebrated Mother's Day yesterday, and it was so sweet.
Mm-hmm. We did celebrate Mother's Day for her last year as well. But, like, it is different, This is the first time where she is on Mother's Day holding her baby in her arms.
It's different.
Yeah.
And I got so emotional yesterday. So I was putting Addie down for a nap, and everything within this past year just started like flooding back, and just thinking about last year, how I was pregnant and not knowing everything that was going to happen in this past year, all the ups and downs, and like how good it gets now. I just started bawling my eyes out and hugging my sweet girl, laying on me. Like, the moments like that is just so sweet, and you take it for granted. And anyways, I'm going on a tangent, but Mother's Day was lovely yesterday, and just thinking about this past year has just been wild.
Yeah.
I've just been recapping this past year and how crazy it has been, and all the things we've learned as a couple, as me being postpartum, as us being parents. And so by the end of this episode, I do want you guys to know my full story within pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and now where I'm at now, and why I decided to make this podcast. And so let's get into it.
This will be fun. I'm excited. I'm very excited
to have you. I'm excited. Cam's a good talker, so this will be fun.
Yeah, that could be a pro or a con, Yeah. It's kind of fun being here. Mal's like a girl boss, like leading the whole thing.
Wow, I do not feel like a girl boss, but thank you.
You look like a girl boss.
Words of affirmation again. But anyways, so I guess we'll start from the very beginning, which is finding out I was pregnant.
Yes. Wow. I remember that literally like it was yesterday. I remember it vividly. It
is such a funny story because, Cam, if you guys don't know, Cam went through a phase where he was obsessed with volleyball.
Yes.
And he was at a volleyball game, and I decided to take a test because I was feeling lots of weird symptoms. And I was like, maybe I Cam.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes home so livid.
Okay, to be fair, it was probably the worst volleyball game that I have ever had the honor of participating in.
And so he comes home not in a good mood whatsoever. And I'm on cloud nine. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're pregnant. Now I get to like go tell him and do all the cute things. And so I don't think I even set up any like extravagant thing. I was just in our room.
Well, before I got home, I was texting you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just had the worst volleyball game ever. Do you want me to like come home right now? Do you want me to pick you up food? And what did you say? You were like, why don't you just come home, pick me up, take me to get food, and then bring me back?
Oh, right.
And I was in my head, I was like, girl, it is like 8 p.m. right now, and you want me to like go and pick you up to go take you to get food to bring you back home?
Yeah, he wanted to get some like feel good food to like get over the loss of that game, and he's like, "Nah, I gotta go pick you up." Like,
I had no issue with picking her up. I just didn't think it made sense because I could just go get the food and bring it to her.
And then even worse, he gets in, he parks, and then he's like texting me like, "Oh, I'm here," and I was like, "Just come in real quick," and he's like, "What do you mean come in? Like, you told me to pick you up.
Yeah,
now
you want me to like
to come in the house?
You want
like,
me to come inside and like carry you out to the car?" I was so confused and upset because of the volleyball game. I wasn't mad at her, by the way. I was just upset in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to preface that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways. And so he comes in and the pregnancy stick is like on the bed. He's so like ADHD and just had no idea what was going on. He didn't even look on the bed. Like, it was right in front of him, and he didn't see it for a while. And then I had to, like, point it to him. I'm like, look, Cam, like, it's over here. And he's like, wait, what?
Well, you were hiding behind the door, too. If I remember right, you were hiding behind the door. And I was like, what is going on? I'm just so confused. And I walk in, and given everything that we just talked about, and I walk in, and she's hiding behind the door. So if you watch that video, it's on TikTok and Instagram.
Somewhere, if you go way back.
You'll see the first, like, couple seconds of the video, you can see it on my face that I'm unhappy. And you can see me go, like, what are you doing behind the door?
Yeah.
Anyway, so then I see the pregnancy test, and I forgot pretty much about everything that I was angry about. So excited, and I was just jumping for joy. And a lot of people asked if that was fake. I truly was that excited.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Yeah,
That's, like, very on brand for Cameron, is to be jumping up and down, screaming about something. And so that was, like, such a Cam reaction for him to do that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was just immediate excitement. That was the day before my birthday. And so the next day, we went out to dinner with our brother and sister-in-law, and we got to tell them the news.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so, like, that's when it really set in, I think, is when you start to, like, tell people that you're close to, like, oh my gosh, it's actually happening.
Yeah.
And, yeah, gosh. I mean, like, how are you feeling? He was not nervous at all. I was like, oh my gosh, like, there's no going back. Like, that's crazy.
I mean, it is what it is, and we wanted that, you know? So it's like...
We did.
Why would I be anything but just, like, pure happy and pure joy? Because here's the thing. You're pregnant. Mm-hmm. You know, it is what it is. Why would I say anything that's, like, negative about it? Why would I say anything that can make you feel like it was the wrong decision? Because you are pregnant, you know?
Right. Well, I think for me, I wasn't thinking it was the wrong decision because, again, even getting pregnant was a crazy story of us feeling just, like, such overwhelming peace. And I just so happened to be ovulating that time. And, like, the way it aligned was just crazy. But I'm talking about, like, the first trimester of Cam just wanted to tell everyone around him, like, literal strangers in the grocery store, was just so over the moon excited. And I'm over here, like, the first trimester is scary. Like, if you guys know, you know, of just so much anticipation and anxiety that comes around. You know, it takes you, a month to even see the baby for your first appointment, at least, depending on how early you find out. Ours wasn't scheduled until over a month later. And so it's like, am I actually pregnant? Like, it was a very weird limbo state for me personally.
That makes a ton of sense. It's like, and it was your first time for everything, you know? It's a lot to learn and a lot to go from, like, living, you know, 20 years of your life not like that. And then all of a sudden, this whole new frontier has opened up that you have to go through.
Right.
Interesting.
And morning sickness was not morning sickness. It was all day sickness.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But then we get into the second trimester, the typical, you get your energy, you get excited, things are getting real, you have a bump to show for. That was awesome. Third trimester, we were in the middle of moving and all the things, was getting really excited, got to set up our nursery.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like such an exciting time, and it was just so surreal to be able to experience that with you for a first time, and like seeing you prepare to be a dad.
It's funny how quickly you went from like first, second, third trimester, and I think it's funny because I know that to you, time literally didn't even happen. That it's just like this giant mess, because she said this to me. She's like, I don't remember
I was
what
in
happened.
an alternate universe for the first like 30 weeks, and then I transcended into even some other universe in the last month of pregnancy.
Yeah.
The last month of pregnancy felt like 3 months at bare minimum.
Yeah. You were ready to pop. You wanted the baby out.
I did everything. I did everything I could. And then I still went to 42 weeks? Just short of 42 weeks. As late as you could go, really.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh.
I will say, we are so blessed, that Mal had a very healthy pregnancy.
Oh yeah.
And that's something that I look back on, and, talking to friends and, other people who have gone through pregnancy and have kids, that's not always the case, and in fact, it's like not even necessarily the majority of people have this like perfect situation, other than, the symptoms that you had, sickness and, a lot of hormonal changes.
But even that, it's like you're so quick to experience what you're experiencing as like the worst ever and just be in such a negative headspace about it. And now being on the other end of it, like, I am so grateful for the pregnancy that I had.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to do it again so that I can have a better outlook on it.
Yeah.
Because now I have the perspective of going into it, I know what I get out of it, and it's such a blessing to have a healthy pregnancy, a healthy baby, like all of those things. Just hearing so many stories about women who have not had that same ending, and to be close with people who have not had that, and to see them grieve, it has completely changed my perspective on pregnancy and growing a baby. That what a blessing it is to even get pregnant again. Because I was in the mindset after that and such a traumatic birth of like, I'm going to have another baby. We're going to stick to 2 just because, like, I don't know if I can do it again. But, like, that's such a limited mindset to how it's such a short span of time to, like, how good it gets after that short span of time. Like, you have your rest of your life with your kids.
Yeah. I think it's taught me a lot of humility as a man and a husband, because like, you're told that, oh, well, women get pregnant, and it's like this really hard thing, and like, well, women are stronger than men because they can go through this pregnancy thing, but like, you don't conceptualize it as a guy until you see your wife go through it, and I look back and I'm just like so impressed with everything that you went through. And every time I see a woman now and she's pregnant, or she's getting ready to be pregnant, things like that, I just have so much respect for what they are going through or what they're about to go through. And it's been good. So, if you're a husband and your wife hasn't gotten pregnant yet, you'll learn a lot. Be prepared to learn a lot.
Especially with the delivery.
Oh.
I think that's when Cam was really, and it was so sweet to see your reaction, but that's when you really shifted and you were like, you are so freaking epic.
You're like awesome for that. Yeah.
He was just in awe of the whole process, and I, of course, was just like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't even conceptualize what was happening after I delivered. And speaking of getting delivered, let's talk about that.
Oh, gosh.
Because that is a whole thing. We did talk about it at some point in time. I guess we'll give you the shortened version. We do have a YouTube about it, my birth story, and everything that went wrong.
Yeah, we have a couple videos about her whole birth experience.
We do, actually. A couple videos. Yeah, so we talked about it after, but we also did a video during and kind of talked through what went on. Anyways, so I got induced.
Yes.
And I really didn't want to get induced.
At how many weeks again?
Past 41 weeks.
Yeah, because the doctors, I guess, wouldn't let her go past 42. They were like, if you get to 42, you're getting induced.
She was a big baby.
Yeah, she was heavy.
Yeah, so that was their main concern, especially with me not wanting a C-section. But getting induced was like the last resort for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just remember, like, the last days of trying everything I could to go into spontaneous labor. And honestly, in hindsight, that drove me kind of insane.
Yeah.
Like, I just think if I were to do it again, which, Lord willing, I will be able to, I wouldn't stress so much about...
Yeah. A little more trust the process kind of vibes.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think it makes sense with your first. You go in with this, like, I want to have my birth plan. This is my birth plan. This is the things that I want from it, and I will get it if I try hard enough. If I will it, then, like, I will eventually get all the... But that's just so not the case.
Mm-hmm.
But even still, like, it's so funny how time and your hormones change the way you look at your birth, because I look back and I'm like, like, so nice.
Yeah, I'm really happy that these are the way that you're looking at it now, because at the time you did not see it like that, you know, and you
well,
just like...
also at the time I was fresh postpartum, baby blues, and I was in so much pain, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, I got an episiotomy, which...
That's an outdated practice now.
Don't crap on me in the comments.
Because... And for everyone that doesn't know what an episiotomy is, it's literally they take a pair of scissors and they give you the old snip in the hoo-ha to make it open up more for the baby to come out, which, you know... Just
atrocious.
Yeah.
The fact that even exists or had existed, it apparently doesn't now, and it's very outdated. You guys, I got my OB that delivered me was a freaking retired OB that just liked to volunteer.
It was this really old guy, and he was like walking around really slowly around the hospital, and he had an accent. He was a nice guy, but he definitely was, you know, old. And he comes in and he goes, "Okay, you're gonna need an episiotomy," and we're like 27 hours into mal pushing, and you know everyone is so delirious.
Let's 27 hours into labor, and I am now pushing. You said 27 hours into pushing.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant, labor.
Okay.
But, yeah, she got the episiotomy. Ugh. Anyway, how did that contribute to your baby blues, what you were talking about?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just looking back at, like, my perspective on my birth, I was in so much pain. Yeah. So, of course, I'm, like, thinking about, like, the birth did that. So, like, I had that connection for a while. But now, you know, almost a year later, like, your body just works wonders and bounces back eventually. And it has eventually. And I just never thought that it would, honestly. I thought that I would always be in that much pain. Because even after I healed, had the 6-week checkup, like, we were not good down there for a very long time. Long story short, I had to go see a pelvic floor specialist, spend loads of money because they wouldn't take any insurance. It was private, but honestly, so worth it because I feel like myself again.
Yeah, it was the scarring, like the internal scarring and the sensitivity and just everything that happened really put some damage on Mal. So
it does. If you guys have given birth and you're still not feeling like yourself down there, pelvic floor specialist, you guys, I can't recommend it enough. Yeah. It was amazing.
And she almost didn't want to go for a while. You know, I think that maybe there was this mentality that, you know, nothing is going to fix this.
Yeah.
And that this is just the way it is. And maybe time. And that was just, you know, the only thing that she was kind of hoping for is that time will heal this.
Yeah.
She rejected the idea for a while. And then she finally decided, you know, after some conversations we had, like, this is really important. This is actually very, very, very important that I find some, like, healing. And so many people recommended the pelvic floor the pelvic floor therapist specialist. Wow, I can't talk. And she did it, and you know, she came back.
Yeah.
She came back that same day, so happy, and she was just for an hour. I just felt
so much relief.
Yeah, it was for like an hour. She was telling me how amazing everything was, how like for the first time she had this person who just made her feel comfortable, and after all of this healthcare fiascos that made her feel scared and frightened and alone.
Yeah,
and
so fearful.
So fearful. And she had this lady who was just so comforting and was there and was like, I know what you're going through and this is what I do. And, you know, I will be a part of your healing process and you will feel better. And also,
just so validating because this is going to be a TMI, but we're all about TMI here. if you guys don't know. You
Fair
will
enough.
you will get used to it. This affected our relationship, obviously.
Like our intimacy.
Our intimacy,
Yeah.
100%, because I had so much internal trauma and damage from down there that all of my muscles were tightened, scratchy. I had scar tissue from the episiotomy that was on the inside that just, it was incredibly painful. And that treatment and her validating that and being like, yeah, like, I see people like you all the time. Like, you are not alone. But my OB didn't say that. The midwife at my 6-week checkup, forget about it. Like, no one was telling me that it was okay and it was normal.
Yeah.
And the people around me, like, barely tore and was perfectly fine and bounced back fine, and they don't feel pain with sex. And here I am, like, 3-4 months in, and I'm like, what the heck is wrong with me? Like, is it just a me thing? And for her to say, like, no, I can feel what's going on in here, and I can see it, and we can fix it. There actually is a solution. I was just like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like, thank you to finally give me answers. And she did. And it's just, it's insane how your body works and how
she's actually planning on going to see her again soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so that's another thing is she did say, like, for me specifically, I actually have, like, muscle imbalances. And so she's like, after a few months, like, if it starts to, like, feel weird again, just come on in and I'll, like, reset you, basically. And so just knowing that she's in my back pocket and, like, has got me and she sees me has just been really sweet.
Yeah.
And so anyways, so yeah. That's that. Birth story, crazy. Postpartum was crazy.
Yeah. And if you want to know more of the details, the nitty gritty, if you're about to give birth soon, if you want to watch that video, beware. But if you want to learn about what Mal's experience was more in depth, we do have the YouTube video.
Yeah. So we kind of touched up on the baby blues.
Yeah.
Baby blues are very real. And I just remember, like, I'm not going to lie, I don't really remember much from the postpartum, like, early weeks.
Yeah.
Even just, like, the days right after birth. Like, I don't remember a thing.
I wish I can say I remembered a lot too, but this is right about the time that I started to, like, lose reality too.
Yeah.
The sleep deprivation and Addie being so colicky in the beginning.
You guys, she was so colic.
Oh my gosh.
That's the one thing that I cannot prepare for. You cannot prepare for your baby screaming bloody murder.
Every single 30 minutes, every single night, for hours on end. I think we clocked it one time. The record of her waking up in the middle of the night was like 15 times in one night.
Yeah.
Split between the two of us. It was just insane. Just, yeah.
And it's so sad because, like, all you want after you give birth is to bond with your baby, to get those newborn cuddles. Everyone talks about the newborn phase just being, like, bliss, you know, and just kind of, like, time slows down, right? And you get all of that bonding with your kid. We did not have that.
Yeah, maybe this is a controversial thing to say, but a lot of people talk about, being instantly in love with their baby the second that they see them.
Yeah.
We did not have that experience. In fact, just to preface, I loved Adeline. Okay, I loved her. She was my daughter. But, like, when did I finally have that sense of, oh my gosh, I love you, you're my daughter, like a real intense, like, passionate love for my daughter who is, like, from us. That didn't come until months later, to be completely honest with you. And, maybe it's like, when did I start liking her,
When she wasn't colic anymore.
Yeah, when she wasn't, like, screaming
Yeah.
every 30 minutes. Anyway.
I hope that with our future kids, if they also have colic, that I would be more compassionate. Like, I hope that is the posture that I take, because I was just so, like, upset and disappointed in my newborn experience. And that's so fair. Like, if your baby is screaming at you 24/7 and you just want them to like you and nothing you're doing is right and helpful to them and they're still just upset at life, like, that is so gut-wrenching. And now I'm on the other end of, like, she was just a baby. She was just trying to figure out life. She can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I just have so much more compassion on that now. And so I hope that I will be able to do that in the future.
Funny enough, our daughter's actually crying right now. I think she woke up a little early from her nap, so I'm going to go try to rock her down for a minute. All right, you may have noticed that we have another guest on the podcast.
She got FOMO, so now she's joining us.
Eddie woke up a little early from her nap. That's another thing, guys. Being a parent never stops, right, Mel?
It never stops. And she's teething, so she just wants extra cuddles.
Yeah,
bad sleep, all the things.
So you were talking about your baby blues. When do you think your baby blues went from like, I have baby blues to I have depression, postpartum depression?
Dude, beats me, honestly. I think from baby blues to when I actually got diagnosed, I literally don't remember a thing. Like, I remember snippets, but I was just in survival mode, honestly. And so I probably did just have it continuously. I don't think it was like a gradual thing. I think it went straight from baby blues to like it never left.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it left in the sense that I wasn't crying 24/7 like baby blues was, but it did carry over into the day-to-day of like, you guys, I didn't just have postpartum depression. I had rage.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that was a thing, but like postpartum rage, I had it.
Mm-hmm.
For sure I had it.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's like a name to it, thank goodness, because I literally thought I was going crazy, which I kind of was. But, you know.
I would not say you were going crazy. I can understand that you felt that way. But I did, you know, I would say it makes sense that you had postpartum rage, like looking back. No, I don't want to laugh about it. I don't want to make fun of it necessarily. But it was a very tough period in time, and I could tell that you were going through just so much.
Yeah.
And, you know,
everything felt like the end of the world, and every little thing would just tick me off. We were actually laughing the other day about this story where so Addie, I was breastfeeding her, and then we slowly started to introduce the bottles because she was having trouble breastfeeding. I was toying around with the idea of like exclusively pumping instead. Anyways, we were giving her bottles sometimes, but I still really wanted to breastfeed. And so Cam made her a bottle as the good husband and father he is, but he did a nipple size up than what.
Yeah, well, because the organization in our you know, cabinet.
There was no way he was supposed to know.
All the nipples for the thing were all next to each other.
They looked the same. They looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
And so he does a nipple size up, and Addie was still having trouble breastfeeding. And so he gives her this bottle, which is obviously a faster flow. If you guys don't know, she was in like a size 0 newborn. He gave her a size 1, which is the next size up, faster flow. And babies get nipple confusion, and they also get upset with breastfeeding, like if it doesn't come out fast enough, but then a bottle does. And so I was so convinced and so livid with Cameron. I was like, she's not breastfeeding because like of you, and like you did the wrong nipple size, and now she's not breastfeeding on me, and like it's your fault. Yeah, I know, Addie.
She remembers the story too.
And I just lost it. Like I was completely undone by that. And I remember poor Cameron, he was calling our sister-in-law, he was calling my mom, of being like, did I really like did I do something like wrong, like so drastically wrong that like she's ruined, like she will not breastfeed you know, with Mallory anymore?
And all these other moms are like, no, Cameron, you know, a lot of things right now will feel like the end of the world to Mallory. And these are other moms who are very experienced mothers, okay? And, you know, they're saying, oh, trust me, I had very similar stories from when I was very freshly postpartum. So just know, Cameron, that you're doing your best, and that is the best that you can do. And continue to support Mal, continue to support the baby, and just, like, that's okay. And I was like,
so we had a lot of stories like that.
Yes. Many.
A lot of instances where everything just felt like the end of the world to me. And again, was just dealing with a colic baby, just trying to figure it out. And I was in survival mode. And I think once the sleep got better and I was no longer in survival mode and the sleep got better, our routine got better, everything kind of settled. But I wasn't settled, that's when I was like, okay.
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong. I really just need to, like, figure this out. And I was in denial, you guys, because it wasn't like it didn't feel like true what I envisioned depression to be, I think, except for because it wasn't, like, constant.
Yeah.
It would come in bursts. And so that's why I was like, okay, it's just a me thing. Like, I just need to, like, push through it and figure out, like, better coping mechanisms and blah, blah, blah. And there is a virtue to that. You should come up with better coping mechanisms because guess what? Once you're off your treatment, that's what you rely on is your coping mechanisms and how you continue with your day-to-day and, you know, combat that. And so I thought in my head, that's just what I need to do. And so once I finally told my OB my symptoms and what I was going through, my thoughts, everything, that's when she was like, okay, so you definitely do. Like, you 100% do, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And it was just, like, I immediately start bawling my eyes out because here I am trying to just, like, muscle through postpartum depression and tell myself, you're okay, you're okay, you're okay. You don't want to get on medication. Why? Why was I thinking I did, like, that's not okay?
Yeah.
I just had in my head that, like, I can do this. I've always wanted to be a mom. I love the idea of being a mother. That's something I've longed for.
Yeah.
Why can I not just do it? You know?
I think it's, like, it's easy to not know. We just looked at some photos from when she was in the depths of her postpartum depression. And this is a time period where Mal had convinced herself that she was happy. She would tell herself, oh, no, this is all joyful. Like, I have my daughter and everything is, like, where it's supposed to be. And, you know, you can see in the photos where she's smiling that the life is, like, drained out of her eyes. And we didn't know until we looked at those photos that, like, oh, my gosh, you can see the depression, like, on your face. Even when you're supposed to be happy, that you can see, oh, my gosh, like, you're not.
I really wasn't.
There's a lot of things that are just not going well. And you can see it on her face. So
when I finally let go and allowed myself to get the help, I am so thankful that I did because it was affecting our marriage. It was affecting you. Postpartum depression in men is so real, and so many men go through it. Like, I think it's like 1 in 10 men. Yeah. Or something like that. Also,
I don't know any of those numbers, but
some crazy amount.
I know that I was very, very also depressed.
Yeah.
And I was afraid to talk about it. You know, I never really brought it up. I think I mentioned it in, like, one video, but I was afraid to talk about it because I didn't want anyone to think that I was, like, somehow maybe downplaying Mal's postpartum depression.
See, and that's not fair.
Yeah.
Because here you are trying to be the support system for both me and Addie, and you're also going through it, but you don't feel like you can talk about it because you're the guy, and I'm the one with all the hormones.
And there's, like, no diagnosis for postpartum depression. You can't go to the OB and say, hey, I'm the husband of the patient, you know, I think I have postpartum depression.
Right. You have to go through more hurdles.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. You have to actually, you know, you're going to have to go talk to a therapist and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I never did that.
I also feel like with Cam's personality, he just feeds off of people really well. And wherever his surroundings are, the people around him, it's like infectious to you, you know? And so once I started to get treatment, that's when Cam also, like, proportionately got better as I got better. Yeah. You know, it was like this, like, terrible feedback loop that we were in of just sadness.
Yeah.
You know?
And I did really try my best to, like, be there for her and to support her. And I was constantly trying to learn and ask for advice from people about how to be a better husband, how to be a better, you know, father. And I don't want anyone to think that, like, I just completely fell apart or anything like that. I really was trying my best throughout the whole process. Aside from all that, what I'm really impressed with is how quickly you recovered after getting seen and getting treatment. Like, it was very quick and noticeable. I could tell that you were, like, getting happier every single day. Yeah. And I could see that you were having more joy with it every single day. And all that leading up to, like, even right now, like, you just love being a mom. you know?
I do.
And I love it. I love seeing it because I always knew that Mal would be the best mother ever. I always knew that you'd be the best mother ever. And it's so cool seeing how much you actually enjoy it now. So
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm like right where I want to be. And when you say immediate, like honestly, it really was. I know that they said when I got on my medication that it would take like a month of, not so good symptoms. I was nauseous and really tired. But after that period of a month, I genuinely felt such a big difference. And I'm so thankful because I know there's a lot of people who get on medication and it just doesn't work for them. And so they have to like trial and error, like try other ones and restart. Yeah, it was just such a sweet time because I really did just have such a big perspective shift in my brain about being a mom. And I started to truly, like, not just tell myself I should feel joy, but truly feel joy with being a mom and my bond with her. And it just took time.
Yeah.
It took time. And
I will say, like, everything you went through, I feel like is such a good testimony for you. And I think that it gives you a lot of opportunity to speak on this subject and this topic with other women and to make them not feel alone. And I've seen in our comments, I've seen in our DMs, like, people will reach out to Mal and tell her, even at the very least, I finally feel not alone. And so that's been just a joy to see that you are talking about these things and being a light in what a lot of women consider to be a very dark time,
Yeah.
So it's been cool.
That's the thing is I didn't want to talk about it for a while.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just kind of like sit in that upsetness. And I was disappointed at motherhood not being the way that I had envisioned. And I just remember asking God, like, why am I going through this? Like, why is it lasting so long? I want to be a mom so bad. Why am I not happy? And I want so badly to be happy and to enjoy it the way that I think I should be enjoying it. It's such a blessing. I know it's a blessing. I know she's the greatest gift that God has ever given me. Why am I not believing it, you know? And I was just so angry for so long that I wasn't enjoying it and didn't want to talk about it. I was just angry at God, honestly.
Yeah.
For a while. And angry that I had to go through postpartum depression and it took so long to feel happy. And now, in hindsight, I'm so thankful that I did.
Yeah.
Even though every day I was just asking God, like, why? Like, so upset at the way that things panned out and just wanted it to be over. And now I'm seeing, like, God is using it in so many ways that I, like, couldn't have ever even dreamt up.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that we are here filming this, me 6 months ago would have literally not believed you. I've wanted for so long for a platform to be a space that meant something so much more. And to reach people, to make them feel not alone in their experience. And it was just so confusing for me for so long on how to do that. And now I'm at a place where it's so clear how God was working and using my story to set that foundation of how to do that. And so I guess, so that brings us to now.
That's why you're doing this podcast.
That's the why behind why I'm doing this. It's not because, everyone else is doing a podcast, therefore I should also do a podcast. It's like so much more than that. And I hope you guys see that. I wanted to talk about the days leading up to discovering that I am going to be making this podcast, all the things, because God was working in that crazy.
Yeah, big time.
So TLDR, what does that mean again?
Too long, didn't read.
Oh, maybe I don't mean TLDR. Anyways,
TLDR is like
short.
The TLDR is like, this is the short version.
Oh, okay, then that's what I mean.
Yeah.
So one of my family friends, her name is Margot, she apparently had a dream about me. I was in it, and it was about fish. Something about fish. We were buying a bunch of fish. I don't know, but her daughter told me about the dream, and I was like, that's so weird. She's like, yeah, you should talk to her about it. I never did. Fast forward like 2 or 3 months, I have a dream about fish, and I totally forgot about this dream. And I had a dream about fish, but I was with you, and we were at this fish store, and we had to like fill up the whole cart for some reason with fish, and I was just like, I don't know what to do with all these fish, blah blah blah. And anyways, here I am in this period of a few months, racking my brain around like how I can use our platform in my story.
And what do the dreams mean?
What do the dreams mean? How like what? I just like sensed that God was working in that and like preparing me for something, and now I could see that in hindsight, but I just like had no idea what it was. And I was actually talking to one of our social media friends, and she reached out to me a while ago about postpartum depression, and we had been going back and forth texting, and she sent this text about like it had something to do with like, yes, I would love to chat more about it. I have such a heart for moms, and I would love to help out in any little way that I can.
Yeah.
And that was the morning of the dream. The morning after is when I got that text, and it just clicked, and I was just like, okay, it all makes sense. And I'm not even kidding, but it was like the Lord came down and was like, boom, this is what it's going to be. This is what it's going to be called. This is what you're doing. And that morning I came to you, and I just started bawling my eyes out. I'm like, Cameron, like it all makes sense. This is what I'm going to do. This is what God has been preparing me for.
Yeah.
This is why I went through, all of this like thing, but like you turn it into something good. And I've had for so long such a heart for moms.
Yeah. I think that's the cool thing about Christ and our God is that he has this tendency of taking things that are horrible and negative and using them for his good and for his purpose. Like think of the cross, right? For example, a tool that was used to like, end people's lives and to publicly humiliate them while they were dying. And he used that, It's very clear that the Lord wants to use your story to help other women. And I'm so proud of you. So you did a great job. You've done a great job. And I think you will continue to do a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys, I'm so thankful you're here. If you made it this far, I'm so thankful. And this is what I want. I want you guys to be able to, well, first off, hear my story, hear the why behind this, because I think it's very important to understand my vision behind this, and it's truly to have all moms of all walks of life feel seen. And the more that I have become a mom and have heard stories of other moms and seen the complexities of it, I see how much there really is that people go through, that I'm at the tip of the iceberg here.
Yeah.
There's only so much that I have experienced. There's so much that other moms go through that I can't even speak on. And so that's my heart behind this, is like no one should ever feel alone in their journey, and every mom's story is unique, and there's something that you can learn from it and take away from it. And so that's what we're here for. My plan is to bring on moms and have them share their story. We're going to talk about hard topics, happy topics, confusing topics, all the things, and it's through their testimonies and their story, their unique story, that we're going to unpack a lot. I have big, exciting plans for this, and I just hope that you come alongside us, and that you're able to take away whatever you need to take away from it, whether that's hope, whether that's support, solidarity, all of it. All of the things.
Thank you for having me on your first episode. It means a lot.
Oh, that's really sweet.
You did a good job. This is cool. Yeah.
Thank you. So, that concludes episode 1. Thank you so much for listening to Momhood, and I hope you leave feeling supported and hopeful in your own unique motherhood journey. I love you, and goodbye.